the left's last stand. Yes, it is. It really is. Now, first of all, let's clear this out of the way. The left will say, "Oh, you're being partisan in politics and dividing us in the midst of this crisis. Oh, oh, oh." And they'll say that because that is a trick of the left. They want to tell you, try to shame you and say, "Oh, you are talking about politics at a time like this when you should be talking about the poor people." And while they are snapping up your freedoms one by one, by one, by one, by one, and by the handful, no less. So this is why you don't listen to a leftist. They are a liar, just like... And I'm sure it's no coincidence that the left in the Bible is also the bad side. No coincidence. Because the Bible has lots of symbolisms with real life. Anyhow, so we're getting that out of the way. I said they'll try to intimidate you and prevent you from fighting for your freedoms while they take away your freedoms, smiling and stabbing you right in the back. So just ignore them. Now, why? Right now, it looks about the same as the flu. Yes, it was a new virus nobody knew anything about. Yes, there were not very many treatments for it, and the main thing is nobody knew much about it, and that's why they panicked. But make no mistake, panic is the key, the main reason we are having the problems we're having today. Now, every year, the flu kills 60,000 Americans. A couple of years ago, I saw the statistics for 2017. 80,000 Americans died of the flu in a single flu season. Okay? So obviously we've been ignoring these deaths most terribly. Aren't we awful people? We've been ignoring the deaths of the flu. Now, if the news media was watching every death from the yearly flu and all the hot spots from the yearly flu, I'm willing to bet that they would come out with about the same statistics as we have now. The bigger cities would probably have the greatest number of deaths from the yearly flu. And we are going to have to go back and research this. So, definitely the models were wildly off. Now, some people probably think this was intentional, some think maybe it's accidental, and some are blaming China, which maybe they are also responsible for this, for the wildly off models that have caused such trouble. And listen to the left, saying, "Oh, we need to keep the liquor stores open and everything because the drug addicts, they might go crazy and it might have a mental health crisis." Oh, they're not worried about the suicide crisis. They're not worried about the mental health crisis of the people losing their jobs. They're not worried about addictions increasing. I would think that losing their jobs would cause a much, much, much worse mental crisis than it would for the alcoholics. But that just shows who the Democrats like. They like addicts. They like because they figure they're the most docile. They do not want us working people to succeed and thrive. The goal of Democrats is to oppress the poor and make everybody poor who is not poor already, if they can. That's the two things you gotta remember about them. They want power, they want money, and they want to harm you. So you want nothing to do with them. And right now, the majority of America is learning the hard way. Learning the hard way as authoritarianism comes cracking down on their heads. And it's brutal. It's brutal. And the rest of the country, if we don't have authoritarianism in our area, we need to be grateful and we need to do what we can to fight with those who are experiencing the worst of the tyranny. And like I said, this is the left's last stand. They were already losing because Trump was so popular. Things are going great. And now that things are down because of this virus, they plan to keep it this way. They don't need to build themselves any gulags or prison camps. They have house arrest. They have the territory of their whole state that they can use, their state or their city. And they can decide to use that indefinitely. Because, be real, when is our world ever going to be free completely free of disease, and completely have a vaccine that works for everybody at every time, every place, everywhere. Bottom line, like Laura Ingraham was saying the other day, in the 80s, they have AIDS, and we still don't have a vaccine for that. Suppose the economy had shut down for AIDS back in the 80s, and they said, we're not going to reopen up until we have a vaccine for AIDS. Well, 40 years later, we are still waiting for that vaccine. And that is what the Democrat governors have planned for us. They have us planned to wait until the 12th of never to make waiting for vaccines that may never come. And if the vaccine does come, they will discredit it, say it's a fake, just like the hydroxychloroquine. And then they will say we need some other vaccine. They'll keep saying we need, just the same way they kept saying we needed to investigate Trump more, they'll say we need to get other vaccines or more effective vaccines. The bottom line is they want to keep America shut down until there is not one stone left upon another. And they can just bring in their communist agenda. So right now, it is the left versus the American people. It's their left's last stand. But when the smoke clears and the dust clears, who will be left standing? Will it be the left, with all their lies and manipulations to defend them? Or will it be the American people? I like to think it will be the American people. The leftists, they do not have support. Oh, they have their handful of trolls online with their poisoned fingers instead of a poison pen. Busy at work, spreading more of their lies and intimidations. But I like to think the spirit of America is still strong at this point, and still strong enough to defeat a handful of rogue governors and whiny baby news anchors. Now, also, another reason, because the left's last stand, because they will not get elected in our generation again. They just won't. People have seen the tyranny, and they are terrifying them. So that's why the left, they know that there's no coming back from this. They're like, we either grab all the power we can now and hold on to it as hard as we can for as long as we can, or it's over for us because we know the power's not coming back. So, because when freedom hits, if freedom comes back, those governors are going to be facing civil liberties lawsuits from about 90 million people. They're going to be facing prison. They'll be facing federal charges. They'll be facing a whole world of hurt. And I can't believe that they are so short-sighted as to know this is not coming. So they know that they do not intend to let the world come back to normal. They do not. Bottom line, so if, say they get their way, say the left beats America, then we suppose our next masters will be Russia or China or the Middle East. Obviously, Russia would probably be the closest to what we have now, but the left is still going to lose because the laws these other countries have, and especially if you get to China and the Middle Eastern countries, very draconian. They won't allow the left to protest, no more pride parades, and in fact, they will probably be illegal, and the leftists will have to flee for their lives if China or the Middle East were to conquer America. So we cannot allow the left to win. The American people must win. And that's all there is to it. If America is to survive, America must win, and the left must lose. But the left, their back's against the wall. They don't have anywhere to go. They won't be getting into office anytime in the next 50 to 100 years. And if other countries take over, their lifestyle will have them arrested or worse at the hands of China, the Middle East, or Russia. So the left has nothing to lose. This is their golden moment. They feel this is their golden moment to become the dictators they have always dreamed of becoming. We must make sure to disappoint them and make sure their reign is cut very, very short. And thank God we have President Trump on our side. And we must keep praying and keep praying for God to help deliver us from these oppressors. And when it's over, we must learn our lesson and never again vote for a Democrat. You can vote these vipers in, but you're going to have to fight and claw your way out. claw to get them out. So, all right. American people must win. Keep America great. God bless, and let freedom ring.